Hello everyone, my name is Madayaw. Today we will be reading A Steam Theater Masquerade. It is a part of a series called Tales from the Steam Theater, first published in 2017. You may find the book on Amazon, amazon.com/author/Madayaw, Maitaarue. This is a work of fiction. Characters, situation, and events portrayed are products of the author's imagination. If there are similarities, it's purely coincidental. So if you want to connect with me, I will have my details on the description down below and at the end of the video. So please enjoy. A Steam Theater Masquerade by Madayaw. It started with a grand masquerade. It ended with an unmasking. I've unmasked her. She unmasked me. We've unmasked those who would tear our love apart. Chapter 1. The young Baron surveyed the dance floor. Masks. All of the masks surrounded him. Paper, metal, gears. Take your choice in mask. But he was not interested in any of them. The grand ballroom of the neo-industrial steam theater was decorated with 1,000 bright lights. Aether? No. This was a newfangled electricity, or something like it. It was supposed to be safer, more efficient than gas lamp. Whatever it was called, it was glittering, dancing, and shining to deceive the ton who was enjoying the night. Happy New Year. There was nothing happy about the New Year. Women, wine, gambling, it didn't excite him the way it used to. He didn't know why he was feeling maudlin this evening. Lord Wilfred Gunther Bradley, Baron of Closhire, decided to exit early. "Leaving so soon, Bradley?" Marcus Meeks, his friends, asked. Although it was more of a statement than a question, Meeks was wearing a plain white mask, very uncomplicated compared to the Baron's elaborate brocade piece. That was Meeks, uncomplicated and simple. His family owned a cotton mill. "I'm bored," Meeks laughed. "You're always bored, Bradley. Try enjoying yourself. There's never been an extravagant party as this in all of neo-industrial London." He was right, the Baron thought. The Steam Theater hosted parties that tried to outdo its last one. Why? Because nothing can compare to the Steam Theater. There were world-class performances and there were world-class performances. The parties were the toast of the ton. Decoration, food, wine, and entertainment were the best. Only in the Steam Theater were the automatons of various shapes and sizes, serving and performing and waiting on people. "Seen one, seen them all," he tried to dismiss it. "I'm going home." "You won't be when you see Monsieur Bricoman's date. They say she is as mysterious as he is," his friend chatted. "Lady Gear, she is called. How fitting to escort the phantom of the Steam Theater. She has the most dazzling costume, with wings of gears. Gears and steam." Lady Gears, Had he seen her perform? "Not your typical mark, but she is intriguing. Look, there she is, standing beside the buffet table," Meeks pointed out. The sight hit Wilfred Bradley like a steam engine. There, meters away, was a tall lady with a pair of wings. She looked like a lovely vision of an angel of steam. Wilfred smiled. "It seems I'm in need of refreshments. By your leave, Meeks." He made his way to the buffet table where an alluring lady in gold and brass was choosing what pastry she'd like to sample. "Good evening, miss," he greeted. "Might I prefer a dance card for the jig?" The lady turned to him in surprise. She was wearing an intricate gold evening gown with very low décolletage. He approved, but her father might not. Her face was hidden behind a mask of moving gears. "Oh, my lord." "Lord, but I'm a mere man, a guest of the ball," he dismissed by waving his hands. Her mask betrayed nothing, but he could tell she was frowning. "You're not a mere guest, Baron Clawshire?" "You know who I am? Have we met?" Surely they moved in the same circles. He tried to recall a lady of her stature, but he came up blank. She turned her back and put some comestibles on her plate. "Yes, but don't ask me where. This is a masquerade after all." He saw her backless dress and saw the wings made of metal and gears attached to the flesh of her back. "Interesting. A lady of intrigue. You have piqued my curiosity. You do sound familiar. We are acquainted, are we not?" It wouldn't do to talk to a lady he was not acquainted with. Then again, he was a rake and a scoundrel. He made his own rules. She smiled. "I assure you, my lord, we are acquainted." How acquainted? And how come he couldn't recall any lady who sounded as familiar as she did? "While everyone is wearing paper masks, I find the most enchanting lady wearing a mask of metal. Her mask of gears was no mere motif. The gears moved and danced on their own." "I'm not the only one in a metal mask. There are others in metal masks as well. Look to the performers." Around the room there were performers stationed in various platforms, attached to strings from the ceiling. The performances were in full swing. "I wonder how it would feel to perform." It was a thought he said out loud, but it made her smile. "I imagine it would be an adventure working for the Marquis, being trained by Monsieur Phantom." Speaking of the Phantom, where was he? "But my lady, where is your escort for the night?" "Monsieur Exeter? He's playing his set." She pointed to the mechanical man seated in front of the pianoforte. He was about to perform. The Baron frowned. Not many knew the Phantom's first name. Was she a close friend of Monsieur Phantom? He was very mysterious and nobody knew his origins. The mechanical man had many friends and many important connections. His employer, the Marquis de Schatz, too had connections in the aristocracy and the royalties of Europe. "But you are mistaken, sir. I am his escort for the night." "How shocking!" "Very French, but that is to be expected of Monsieur Phantom." The first steam theater was in Paris. Since then it had spread to neo-industrial London and Blackpool. The music started. "It is the waltz, my lord. Would you care to dance, or would you rather wait for the jig?" "Is this a French thing as well? You ask a man instead of the other way around?" She held out her hand instead of replying. Wilford smiled and took her hand. She was a breathtaking woman. He'd love to peel off her gold trappings. They entered the dance floor of the grand ballroom. The floor tiles were gold and shiny. Above them glittered 1,000 light bulbs. Around them were automatons serving and ushering the guests. The music began and they started to dance. Guests faded in a blur. It was as if only the two of them existed in a world gilded in glitter. The waltz was an easy pace. It was romantic in a way that two people swayed to such heavenly melodies. Lady Gears let herself be led by Baron Bradley. She leaned her head back and let her wings of gear spread out. It opened and whizzed, moving in sync with her mask of gears. "Enchanting, my lady. You are enchanting," he breathed. Wilfred knew she was blushing, but it was all hidden under the mask. Dare he pull it off? It might cause a scene. Would it be worth it? The phantom's melodious voice silenced the room. For such a scary man, he had such a heavenly voice. They say he was not a man to be trifled with. He could kill a man 100 ways because of the tech he ruled. Wilfred and Lady Gear swayed to his melodious voice. When his song ended, so did the dance. Shall we dance a jig? She was wheezing and held on to his hands. Her grip alarmed him. He led her to the corner and out of the crowd. She seemed to be having trouble breathing. Her gear wings pumped and whizzed, then slowed. I'm afraid I've lost my breath. Please, escort me to a fainting room, she said, and he could hear that she was out of sorts. Wilfred escorted her to the many small rooms at the side of the ballroom. There were card rooms to the right and smaller fainting rooms for the ladies to rest on the left of the ballroom. He led her to an unoccupied one at the far end of the room. Inside the fainting room was a partitioned commode, a chaise lounge, and a vanity desk. He led her to the chaise lounge, but didn't leave her. Lady Gears produced a small key from her neck. It hung like an amulet. She wound a keyhole in between her cleavage. Lord Wilfred blushed and turned away. He heard a mechanical wind-up. Click! It was like a doll's wind-up. After he heard the click, she gasped and breathed easier. I do beg your pardon, Baron Bradley. I must wind my lungs every few hours, or I lose my breath, she explained. Is that the Phantom's doing? The Phantom of the Steam Theater and the Marquis de Shot, his employer, were known to be at the forefront of automata technology. They were the only ones to fuse parts to humans. He heard that the Duke of Reddingfield's wife had glass and automata arm and leg. Count von Voltaire had an automata arm. Even the Phantom himself was half automata. It was rumored that the Marquis de Shot's wife was half automata as well. These wings, they are not just decorative, are they? Her wings, as large as she was, they beat and whizzed. He looked at them closely. They were like giant lungs. What marvel, he thought. Only the Phantom and the Marquis could make such. He knew no other could make automata like these. It looked heavy for such a slim lady to be carrying, yet she carried her wings with ease. Ever since I was a child, I had weak lungs. It held me from pursuing what I wanted, she explained. My father kept me indoors at times. Because of this, the neo-industrial London air would corrupt my lungs easily and send me into a whacking cough for days. I know what you mean. I once had a friend. She had the same health condition. He knew of a friend back in his childhood days. She too had a degenerative lung problem. She had to be sent to the countryside to live. Once he visited her, but that time he was a young lad, in pursuit of light skirts. She was such a tomboy, not his type at all, but they cultivated a strong friendship over time. Perhaps he should write her a letter to inquire as to her health. So, what is Lady Gears doing all by herself in the great steam theater? Once she had her bearing, she tucked the key in her purse. I am Monsieur Exter's latest apprentice. Truly? The theater is letting more ladies perform? It started in Paris. The ladies were no longer limited to dancing at the Moulin Rouge. The Parisian steam theater allowed women to perform. The trend was catching on in neo-industrial London. The Phantom and the Marquis had brought Anemone, the singing angel of the deep. She was the toast of the town. Soon there were performers like the Duchess of Reddingfield and the human butterfly known as Mariposa. It seems Lady Gears will be joining them on the boards." "What would your father say?" she sniffed. "My father will and won't understand." "Would you elaborate on that?" The statement confused him. "He is very old-fashioned, my lord, but had I not run away to the theater, I would be trapped in my room, waiting for the next bout of cough to overtake me. Soon, like my mother, I would waste away, and that will be the end of a life unlived." She enlightened him. "A life unlived," he whispered. "Just like her." He had to admire a woman who takes her fate into her own hands. "So tell me." "No, tell me about this friend of yours. Does she still live in the countryside?" He frowned. "As far as I know." "But had you not contacted her?" He sighed, and sat beside her on the chaise lounge. It was very bad form, but he needed the break from etiquette to reminisce his misspent childhood. Her name was Amanda. She was tall for her age, nearly as tall as me when we were growing up. She often stole her brother's clothes and ran into all sorts of adventure with me. One day, she wouldn't stop coughing. The doctors were brought in and told her father about her lung problem. She had to be sent to the countryside. She sounds like the adventurous type. Oh, she is. She wasn't afraid to climb chimneys, race on horses, and arm wrestle the other boys. He laughed. She was even bolder than that brother of hers. A woman after my own heart, Lady Gears mused. She must have quite the life. To be sent to the countryside might be hell on earth for her. Could be, but her chimney days are over. She would eventually marry and live a quiet life. That was expected to be the unwritten rule of society. Poor Amanda, she had no say. I wonder if that would ever happen to me, to be simply married off, or perhaps waste away in my room, never having an adventure. Perhaps it was the fate of every marriageable lady. You are quite the adventurer yourself, he affirmed. You can tell, she was teasing him. A woman who runs away to thread the boards and escort the phantom of the steam theater is definitely an adventurer. And he was intrigued, very intrigued. Please, tell me who you are. He couldn't help asking, as inappropriate as it was. He leaned into her, taking in her scent, her essence. She was perfection, a lovely blend of metal and flesh. But she would not give in. For tonight, I am Lady Gears. Behind the mask, her eyes were glittering, betraying emotions. Her luscious lips were half open. He could not help himself. He leaned even closer and pressed his lips to hers. When she did not protest, he pulled her flushed against him into a full kiss. The kiss, like 100 kisses he had given, started as any kiss. Two people were attracted to each other and their lips met. But something about Lady Gears told him that this kiss was no mere kiss. She was something special. Wilford knew he was smitten. What would he find under the mask? In this kiss, he gave his all until he was drowning in her. Lady Gears gave back what she received. She was a delight, he decided. When she started to pant, he released her at once. Oh, my lady, should you wind your key? She put the little key in his gloved hands. Would you like to wind me, my lord? He didn't protest. When she lowered her décolletage to expose the keyhole just below the chest line, he couldn't help but blush. He'd been with women before, but none had affected him like Lady Gears. 3 turns clockwise would suffice, my lord, she instructed. Wilford was about to put the key into her when something crashed into the large stained glass window. Startled, she clutched his arm. What the? With no time to react, the thing that crashed in unfurled into a bigger mass that ran straight into the couple. Shocked but propelled into action, He tried to shield the lady from glass and debris. The thing was huge. When it came closer, he saw what it was. It was a large, spider-like automaton, and it was headed for Lady Gears. Bradley tried to block the creature, but he was pushed aside. He landed on the marble floor. The big thing took Lady Gears in its long, spindly arm. Wilford grabbed her hands and pulled with all his might. Two gloved hands slipped and she was dragged out the window. "Will!" she called out. Wilford ran to catch up with them, but the creature, a spider-like mechanical monster, was dragging the lady into the shadows. Fearing for her life, he tried to reach her outstretched arms, but to no avail. The creature was so fast, it exited the broken window in a rush. "Lady Gears!" He looked out, searching for the creature in the darkness. It crashed into a cellar door just below the theater grounds. Will ran out the hall, but a sea of people nearly drowned him. He needed to find help, someone who would believe what had just happened. He bumped this way and that, his cries for help unheard. Finally, he was propelled to a familiar face. It was Peeps, and he was talking to a gentleman. "Peeps! Peeps, quick! You need to help me," he blurted to his friend. "Bradley, look who it is. It's Cogsworthy, the Duke of Montauk's. He used to go to the university with us," Peeps introduced. Noticing his friend's anxiety, he asked, "What is the matter?" "Peeps, a large mechanical monster attacked us and took Lady Gears." "What?" Amidst the loud noise, Peeps and the Duke heard him. "You are not jesting." The large man beside him frowned. "Where?" The Duke asked him to lead the way. He didn't question the truth of the mechanical monster at all. Had he encountered them in the past? Wilford directed his two friends to the room. When they got there, tiny automatons were already beginning to clean the room. Shoo! Don't touch that!" Wilford tried to shoo the cleaners away. "Don't mind them. It's what they were programmed to do," the Duke said. "How large was this creature?" Wilford pointed to the window. "It was bigger than the two of us put together. It picked up Lady Gears as if she was a doll, then exited down there." He pointed to the open cellar doors, which were now in the process of closing. The Duke looked down in the sprawling gardens. The property that bordered the Steam Theater was wooded, but that didn't mean it held no secrets of its own. "That, my lord," he pointed. "That goes to the underground theater." "The what?" he and Peeps asked. The Duke cleared his throat. "What I'm about to tell you will not leave this room," he said ominously. The two friends were grim but nodded. "Under the Steam Theater is the secret underground theater. It is a dark place, and what I mean isn't about lighting." Baron Bradley gulped. "What is this underground theater?" The Steam Theater in neo-industrial London had been in existence for a decade, and the Baron, having been an avid fan of the theater, he's never heard of the underground theater. "It's a secret entertainment arena. Only few people know of its existence. Men go there to fight, to watch the fight, and to bet on the fights." But that's illegal!" Meeks exclaimed. "It is, and nobody knows it. The doors will not open for anyone but those invited," the Duke informed them. "How will I get invited?" The Duke bent to pick up a red card on the floor. "It seems, Baron Bradley, you already are invited. I suggest you rush in before this invitation is rescinded." Wilford took the card. It was an ordinary calling card made of thick linen paper. He gasped when he saw the logo. It was of a spider. No, it was not just a spider. It was an automata spider. "You mean to say I'm going to fight this thing for Lady Gears?" The Duke's expression said it all. "Be careful, Bradley. Perhaps we should call the constable. We should wait until they arrive," Meeks suggested. "I cannot wait that long." He showed them the key in his hands and explained Lady Gear's breathing condition. "So you see, she cannot wait that long. She might not make it in time. I have to wind her lungs, and fast. Also, the way she called him bothered him. Nobody called him Will, only... Then you must go, Baron Bradley. Save the lady, Duke Cogsworthy said. A word of warning. The Marquis has his grandfather's war automatons. A lot of them. They are stored underground. Do you understand? Wilfred nodded and rushed out of the Steam Theater and went to the red door outside the theater's garden. This was the entrance of the underground theater. He took a deep breath, took off his mask, and entered the red door. Author's note. The story is part of Stories from the Steam Theater. Each story revolves around the Steam Theater, and each character is tested by circumstances and eventually the Phantom himself. The setting is 1859, neo-industrial London. It is the era of Pax Industrial, or industrial peace. In this world of commerce, airships rule the skies, but the theater ruled the streets. Entertainment is more valuable than gold. Enter the Steam Theater, where entertainment is world class. Be served and waited on by tiny automatons. Let steam and lights guide you. Only the finest performers may present. Unsavory bunches are not allowed. Come and see. Strapped for dosh? Bargain with the Steam Theater's mysterious master, the Phantom Exterbrickman. What will you be willing to exchange for your heart's desire, love or limb? Whichever you take, you will be baptized in steam before you can even perform. If you enjoyed this story and found it useful, I'd really appreciate a short review here or on my Facebook. If you like the book or have purchased the book, I really appreciate a review on Amazon. I do read all the reviews personally so that I can continually write things that people love. And these stories are also some of the things I love. You may write directly to me via my Facebook page or my other social media channels. Thank you everybody for the support. Once again, Madayaw everyone. End of chapter 1. Thanks guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed that. Chapter 2 will be in another video. Thank you very much, and I hope you like, share, and subscribe my channel and my contents. Thanks guys, and see you in the next one.